So we've come to the last item of business for this evening, which was item number 16 that was added by motion and vote at the beginning of the meeting in regards to the continued employment of our city manager. Before we have this conversation, I want to look to the city attorney, Katie, and I just want to be very clear about the bandwidth here. As I understand, the charter of the city manager works at the pleasure of the city council. So I do believe we're within our purview to set a date to have a discussion, but given that it's personnel related, this would not be the time to be having discussion about anything related to performance.
Well, and I think there's two parts there.
Okay.
First, I need to caution the council, this is a personnel issue, which means this should be done in a closed session, any specifics, any discussion in regards to that. Second of all, I can't give you good legal advice tonight on what to do because I didn't get a chance. I wasn't given a heads up. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to review the contract, let alone the charter, in regards to whether or not you can even ask for a hearing today. So my suggestion would be is that you continue to table this motion and give me time to draft a memo and get you the full correct legal advice on what you can and cannot do, and table that until the next, well, unfortunately, it can't be the next council meeting. I'm not here. But it needs to go to a different council meeting simply because, quite honestly, I can't give you good legal advice right now. And I'd be flying off the cuff, and that's not appropriate. And the citizens of Beltrami County and Nate and the council deserve better than that. So I would just ask for some time to at least give you a brief or a memo in regards to what is available under the charter, which isn't just that you can have under that. Because if you look at chapter 601, there's a way you can remove the city manager. It in no way discusses that you can have a meeting to, in essence, a review or a meeting to discuss all of that. It says how to do it, how to make a resolution. But I'd like to be able to frame that in a good memo for you so that you know legally what you can and can't do.
Okay, so thank you for that. I do want to clarify one thing. Given that the city attorney reports to the city manager, does that present any conflict for you?
Honestly, ethically, my job is to make sure that you have the best legal advice possible. If the council is not comfortable with that, we can always tap in Brandon Fitzsimmons, who is out of Flaherty and Hood, who typically is our go-to on employment law. My understanding, if I'm remembering correctly, he has been brought in to recommend to the council and to advise the council when there are issues in regards to the city managers in the past. But I guess I would leave that up to you. If you'd like me to go and discuss that with him, I'm more than happy to.
So if we did do that in terms of timing, this could be tabled until the next council meeting because potentially that resource could be available.
I don't know if you would be available,
understand
but
we have to check, but theoretically, assuming they're available, that could possibly be an option.
it very well may be, unless you would still like me here. I don't know that.
Okay, again, I'm just asking the question. So I'm going to go back to the motion maker on this, which was Councilor Thayer. You've heard our city attorney on this matter. Do you have direction in terms of what you would like to see as the motion maker?
I would be concerned right now the conflict with our attorney and working with the city manager on this issue. I think we need an outside individual in respect to that. Nothing personal to our attorney. I think she does an outstanding job. I just think in this situation, I've asked, specifically asked that we just have a scheduling time to discuss this. And I don't know if we have, we can continue this on.
Okay, so I'm just gonna stop you there. So again, I think the fundamental question is, are you comfortable tabling until the next meeting?
Next meeting is in February, correct?
Would be 2 weeks, yes, first meeting in February.
February 6th. No.
Right, I'll look at the second to that motion. Do you have thoughts about tabling this?
I would go with the motion.
Okay, I'll look to the rest of the council. Obviously, we had two individuals here who voted against putting this on the agenda. So Counselor Eaton, you had your hand up, and
Yes,
I'll go to you first.
I think this needs time to be thoroughly researched and thought through, and I'm not gonna rush to judgment here until I hear some really decent arguments for that kind of thing. So, yeah, I'm all for tabling it and let appropriate work be done.
Counselor Rivera, do you have anything to offer here?
Well, I guess one observation I would make is that I was totally taken aback by this, and I'm not quite sure how to digest even what's happened. But I would note that, you know what, I'm not going to note. The way in which this moved through today concerns me, because the reaction of my fellow council members was not congruent with mine. In fact, it seems like there was knowledge or understanding of this ahead of time, because, I'm sure I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But like, I have no context. I am absolutely floored, and to try to move something forward such as this is something that I hope that those council members who affirm the motion would consider that there are many pieces at play here, and remind them that the city attorney is the attorney for the city, and attorneys have ethical obligations to their client, not to their boss, not to the council. It is to the best interest of the city. And so just keeping that in mind, what that role is, I would have to say that I would really consider our legal advice on this one. And that legal advice is to allow time to provide legal advice, which we need. Thank you.
Counselor Peterson, you were one of the folks that affirmed this vote. You have not spoken, so I'll look to you.
Yeah, so I too, kind of caught off guard, as you were too, Councilor Rivera. And what came to mind for me was we do have a process in place for an annual review, which I believe we are, a month out from normally? 2 months out from? April, March? So I was under the assumption that this would follow suit with that regular process.
Okay, so kind of what I'm hearing you
Unless we're
say,
expediting the process here, I'm not sure.
well, I think we're talking about two different things, right? Is what our city attorney pointed out to us. There's a difference between a review and then there's a difference about termination. They're two different things, and how they're handled in the charter, they're two different things. Correct.
Well, and I would say that the charter does not discuss the review. Your contract with the city
Correct.
manager discusses the review. And I don't have that contract in front of me. I was not prepared to discuss that contract. I haven't read that contract in a little bit. So I really can't, I don't want to even speak in regards to what is required under the contract and what the city has agreed with the city manager. Now, in regards to a termination or removal of the city manager, there is a process laid out in chapter 6.1, which does not include a meeting.
Correct. And the motion that had been made was to set a date to have a discussion about the continued employment of the city manager. So that was the motion that was on the floor and approved. And so that's why I framed it this way, because that's not the same as a review necessarily.
And I would say that's why you need time. And if you don't want me to give that legal advice, that's fine. We can absolutely give Brandon Fitzsimmons a call. But you need to have the appropriate legal advice and appropriate recommendation of how to move forward to do what you want to do. And if you're not comfortable receiving that from me, that's absolutely fine. I'm okay with that. But I have to protect the city. That's my job. And I'm telling you, the best thing that you can do is take a step back and get legal advice and make sure you're doing it the appropriate way.
Okay, thank you for that. I was one of the folks that also voted in support of this setup of a meeting, and I concur with your opinion in regards to legal advice. I do believe that, given the history that you gave us about Flaherty and Hood being the folks that we have talked about this to the past, I think that that is good advice. And so I would be prepared to offer a motion here that would say we table this discussion for 2 weeks to our next scheduled council meeting, and to seek legal counsel from Flaherty and Hood. So that is the motion I would offer. I would ask if there is a second for that motion.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Eaton. Is there any other discussion here before we call a vote on this motion? Councilor Thayer?
And I've been quiet about it, and I'm continue being quiet because it is a personnel issue. And out of respect to my feelings and to the city manager, I want to reserve that in respect. As those who have sat in these seats in prior times and prior years, there are things that happen that are behind the scenes. And there are things that are said and done. And
Councilor Thayer, I have to caution you.
I'm stepping over. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Please don't do that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Roll call vote, Michelle, please.
Rivera,
No.
Peterson,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Thayer,
Yes.
Prince,
Yes.
Eaton.
Yes.
So that motion carries 5-1. This is tabled until our next meeting. We will seek legal advice. That brings us to the end of our meeting.